Okay, so I had a video pinged for copyright. I included a clip in there, but worth looking at again. And this is essentially the ancient art of modern architecture in many ways. And there are a few architects who get the cream jobs and do these very important buildings, who are working in the Hermeticist language, and they are encoding their buildings with many aspects, as above, so below. So Norman Foster will be uh, the foundation, but we'll also be looking at I.M Pei. And so interesting, there was a documentary, How Much Does Your Building Weigh, Mr. Foster? Well, weights and measures. And now he likes to portray himself as this computer age sort of guy in the documentary. Is all, well, what he's actually doing is working on an ancient set of principles set around Hermeticism, Hermes, Thoth, the gods of weights and measures, and the knowledge encoded in there. And so the buildings look very modern, but they're actually very ancient in the same principles in there. And just like I.M Pei, these are, like the Louvre pyramid. They're not just doing some random building. They do very important buildings in very, very important places. And they're using the same language. And as above, so below will be a theme, is they're Hermetic esotericians. And weights and measures will be an important feature. So Norman Foster's done the Malao Viaduct, London City Hall, 30 Mary Axe Street in London, the dome on top of a Reichstag. I won't be covering all this will just be a first part and intro just to show the links. Hearst Tower in New York City, Deutsche Bank building here in Sydney. He basically designed all of Astana, which is the newest of the New Jerusalems. It's the Washington of Eurasia, just like Canberra is in Australia or Oceania. Brasilia in South America, and Astana, Brasilia, Canberra, and Washington are these four big cities. But he not only designed the city, so the Beta Rec Tower, Pyramid of Peace and Reconciliation, was also by Norman Foster, same as the Khan Satir Entertainment Center. So he's the proposed Crystal Island development in Moscow. That's going to be 1,480 feet, and that will come back because this is one of these numbers he's doing. But Apple Park campus in California, I think it was $5 billion the cost in there. But so it all looks very modern. Apparently, there's no ancient stuff going on here. There's no esoteric themes hiding in plain sight. Well, just consider the Apple logo. Now, there's a few ways to look at it. The bite from the apple, it's very Adam and Eve. It's that the knowledge, the tree of knowledge. The original one was an apple with Isaac Newton and the apple falling on his head, but a bite has been taken from the Apple logo, much more reminiscent of the Adam and Eve story. These companies, Mazda, Toyota, so many others, have esoteric ancient symbols embedded in the front there. And well, think different, think hermetic, as above, so below. So to begin with, the building is 1,512 feet wide. So here you see some of the measures, and Doric and Ionic, these very important themes in still now in Mason, but going back to the ancient Doric and Ionic forms of architecture, Dorian and Ionian music, Doric and Ionic feet. And how does this connect to the Great Pyramid? Well, all of this stuff by these very select group of artists, such as Tony Rosenthal or Anish Kapoor, or architects such as I.M Pei and Norman Foster, are embedded in ancient structures, the Great Pyramid and the Parthenon being classic examples. So the Louvre Pyramid by I.M Pei, in Paris, in front of the Louvre, even from the Structure International Database, the pyramid is the same proportions as the Great Pyramid of Giza. Now, there are slight variations. So if you stand at the corner, the most you'll ever see of the pyramid is two sides. It varies slightly from 1511.2 to 1511.954 feet. So that's 0.06 feet of this dimension. Now, it's also worth noting that the size varies from 755.4 to 756.072 feet. There is a 755 feet entrance tunnel. I think that the numbers proposed are actually ever so slightly rounded off, but this is what they're pointing at because it's much more than just these. And so, for instance, there's in the Apple Park, curved safety glass panels. They're 45 feet tall around the outside. Largest curved panels in the world. Well, 45 feet is 7.2727 rods, or 27.2727 Royal Babylonian cubits. You'll see how these various ancient, supposedly unconnected ancient units of measure always come back to these very important ancient legends and ancient structures. For instance, the pyramid is the half base to the height is 1.2727. So the height is 0.27 or 27.272727% more than the half base. So we see those numbers, and you'll see these appearing in so many other structures. I'm just looking at the Norman Foster and I.M. So the rotational speed of the Earth per second, 1521.76 feet. I would suspect that either this angle of the building from the base, but this angle, or there'll be some sort of paving ring around there that might account for, to basically give it the extra 9 feet to connect it to the rotational speed of the Earth, because that happens at the pyramids as well. But the pyramid itself is on the socle and the sockets. If you include the sockets, which give it 9 extra feet, it's what you see at the base of a pyramid is the rotational speed of the Earth. If you stand at the corner, you see two sides. So, but that just as an so there you see a diagram. So there's the pyramid base, but then we have these sockets, which give it this extra distance to bring it to the size of the Earth. So what's going on here? Again, there'll be a lot more to come, but let's just dive into it. So firstly, the Bank of China building in Hong Kong by I.M. the top floor is, and it's here you can see, so for instance, the top floor 945 feet, and then the lower roof 946 feet, so this 1 foot off, so 433, that'll be 432 feet, the same thing's going on there. The length 173 feet, that's square root of 3 times 10, sorry, times 100. So much stuff, but I'm just going to focus on some parts. So the top floor, 945 feet. That's 15,120 fingers. 1512, 1512. Now 250, so 1512 feet, the Apple Park diameter, that's 252 fathom. Hearst Tower by Norman Foster. You see these glass triangles around the outside. Well, there are 252 of them in total around the building. Now, the Pyramid of Peace and Reconciliation in Astana is a true pyramid in that it's 203 feet high and 203 feet wide, but it stands on a base to give it the extra 49 feet to make it 252 feet, the total height. 252, 252, 252. And on the ionic scale, this converts to 25,200 fingers. Doric and Ionic are a Mason board, you have Doric, Ionic and Corinthian columns. These are especially Doric and Ionic are forms of music, but they're also forms of measure, also forms of architecture. I've just recently did an upload done in the past. The Salamis stone encodes the Doric and the Ionic foot, as well as the allegedly modern foot. So the modern foot, that the SI that they're using here, is actually very ancient, very, very ancient, and it connects to these other systems. And so 252, well, 252,000 stadia, the polar circumference of the Earth as described by Pliny. Now it gets a bit confusing because there are variations of what a stadia or a stadium is, but this number has been connected in the past. But also a pentagon, the outside angle 252, the golden number in cosine, golden number from there as well. I.M. famously did an interview, and he was pushed on the subject of the Louvre pyramid, and then he admitted the golden section, or phi, the divine proportion, was most important thing he ever learned. So 252 we see repeated, and also, so I'm not sure of the pronunciation, the Luce or the Lucy Memorial Chapel in Taiwan by I.M. 63 feet high, that's 252 palm. So 504 yards, well, That's Plato's perfect number of, okay, just like now 12 feet, that's 1008 cubits, 108 names of Lord, 1008 names of Lord Vishnu, 1008 major notes in the Rosicrucian tradition. If you add the diameter of the Earth plus the diameter of the Moon, you get 10,080. That's also the number of minutes per week, and a nice connection to time, because 63 feet, that's 1008 as well. So I.M. Pei using this, not this number as well. And at 252 feet, that's 1008 palm. And so 1008 or 10,080 minutes per week, or 6,048. It's a number of seconds per week, references to time, because of the 252 feet of the Pyramid of Peace and Reconciliation. It's 168 cubits, 168 hours per week. Weights and measures and all these different Eastern and Western traditions blend together. So, for instance, Deutsche Bank building, that's 525 feet to the roof, that's 6,300 inches. Apple Park is 6,300 ionic palm in diameter. Lucha Chapel, 63 feet high. Bank of China building, 945 feet or 630 cubits. There are 63 Salakapuran, sorry the pronunciation, in Jain cosmology. In the Mishnah, Talmudic, there are 63 tractates. This has to do with the law. And 63 saints in Shaiva, the old Hindu, especially connected to the importance of Shiva. So 945 is also so Bank of China building, 945 feet top floor. Lucha Tower, that 63 feet converts to 945 Doric fingers. 252 feet, that's 945 Doric palm, or 9,450 ionic grains. Now here's an interesting one. Again, this is just an intro part, because there's so much more to this, and we'll be connecting other places. But at aphelion, when the sun is its furthest, that's July 4. 94.5 million, 945 million miles. Now, why is that nice connection? Well, the Declaration of Independence Congress approved the text on July 4. I think that was intentionally, they wanted to do that on this date, but that was 1776. Now, I.M. Pei also did the Museum of Islamic Art in Doha. Norman Foster did City Hall in London. And he also did 30 Mary Axe Street. So the, well, it's, again, just everything's emerging, but just to, so for instance, the Museum of Islamic Art in Doha, domed atrium rises 164 feet high. There's a 1,640 feet heliacal stairway inside City Hall in London. I could wax lyrical on the importance and how many sites have this 164 feet or 1,640, both modern and ancient sites. For instance, just one example, the Arc de Triomphe, 164 feet high. This is one of the, where it's Washington, Paris, London, Canberra, Brasilia, Astana. This is a standard that has to be included in there, because that turns out to be 27.33 fathom, but not for the moment. But also in the Museum of Islamic Art, the glass sheet rises inside the atrium to 148 feet high. City Hall is 148 feet high. Countless cathedrals and well, again, this is, not just one. These buildings have multiple references to these important numbers. And well, 30 Mary Axe Street, 592 feet high. Don't look at the Wikipedia entry. Look at the technical data, and you'll see it's not exactly 180 meters or 591. It's 592, and that's 1776 hands. And City Hall is 1776 fingers. The new World Trade Center, that's 1776 feet high, but these also convert to another set of important numbers. So just as an intro, I.M. Pei, Norman Foster, these guys are embedding this architecture with so many references to ancient traditions, but also the quadrivium, music, geometry, astronomy, and arithmetic, and it's all cunningly